The old talesmith settled himself on the tree stump exactly as he had done every 7th day for as long as I can recall, and glanced at the eager faces of all those that had, once more, gathered around the campfire waiting patiently for him to begin his story. They all knew, of course, that the story would have to wait, for the old talesmith had become something of a creature of habit over the years, and as such, he always followed a set pattern before he began to tell a story. We had all come to know the routine just as well as the old man himself. First, he would sit and make himself comfortable on the tree stump that had been lovingly and painstakingly carved into a chair by the clan elders. Once seated, he would take a drink from the small silver flask that he kept hidden in his left boot. Finally, he would take a clay pipe from his tunic, fill the bowl with his favorite tobacco, draw close to the campfire to light a taper. Thereafter, puffing noisily on his pipe, he would blow a great cloud of smoke into the chill night air. I was barely in my teens when I first heard tell of the old talesmith, and it was several years later when I learned that his name was Dreyfus. Since then, I also learned that he had once been a man of great importance within the clan. A cunning and fearsome warrior, admired and respected by his friends, and even more, I'm told, by his enemies. He was, at that time, some 60 years old. His experiences on the battlefield had no doubt taken their toll and aged him by another 20 years, impairing his health. Thankfully, though, his mind was as sharp as ever it was. With trembling hands, Dreyfus drew a small silver flask from his left boot and took a good gulp of the contents before replacing the stopper and slipping it neatly back into his boot. Once again he set a taper to the bowl of his pipe and puffed frantically before blowing a cloud of smoke into the night air and leaning forward to begin his story. Everyone present, me included, felt that the old man was talking directly to them, and only them, so they all leaned forward for fear of missing but a single word. Eventually the old man began to speak, and his words filled our ears once more.
I will set down a story told to me by the ancient storytellers of my clan, handed down through countless generations of great chiefs. It tells of the years that followed the great thunder, and a time when many years ago we lived in harmony as the 12 tribes of man. A harmony that was, over the course of time, laid to rest by petty differences that forced the 12 tribes to separate into the clans of the 4 elements. My clan, the Pyrans, were born to the sign of the flame and were governed by the gods of fire, who in turn were governed by the great lord Pyrrhus, lord of fire and thunder, and master of all worlds. The Aquans were born to the sign of water, and they quite rightly were governed by the great lord Hydra, master of the oceans and creator of all sea creatures. The proud Terrans were born to the sign of the earth. They were protected by the earth gods, who, I'm told, were themselves governed by the great Earth Mother, Lady Yord, great goddess of the earth, from whom we believe that the world itself was born. And finally, there was the clan of the wind, the Cycloids, whose own gods were governed by the Lord Tempest, master of the winds, whose very breath, we believed, could create or indeed destroy life itself. It was over 4 centuries after the Great Thunder when we all discovered our powers.